Cardinals select Chris Wells, running back, Ohio State.
It was this time last year the Arizona Cardinals addressed their need for a running back, taking Chris "Beanie" Wells with their first-round pick. And this year, after losing a lot of star players to free agency and a starter quarterback, of course, to retirement, how do the Cardinals approach the draft this year? We have Jeff Crucini and Russ Bliss from FantasyFootballStarters.com, our football experts, of course, who join us during the whole football season. And glad to see you guys again this morning.
Yeah, that's right. You bet.
All right. This is going to be interesting because we'll address the Cardinals in a minute. But first off, Russ, this draft taking place Thursday night, primetime live, that's a change.
Yeah.
How will this affect the whole situation, and will there be any primetime players to come out of this class that, you know, is going to impact next season?
Well, it's very interesting with the NFL switching to this new format, doing the primetime on Thursday night, breaking it up that way. This way, teams at the end of the first round, instead of immediately having to go into the second round, get a chance to reshuffle their draft boards after the first round, and then there could be a lot more trading going on.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of dynamics. You take into that effect, right, Russ? And then the fact that this is an uncapped year. This is the last. So next year, there actually could be a rookie salary cap like there is, Tess, in the NBA. So you may have some teams that are either trading down and saying, guess what, I'll forego that #1 pick this year and trade it next year, and it won't cost them as much. So this is a solid draft where there could be a lot of trading down versus trading up, which has happened in the past.
Okay, that I could see how that would work, why they'd want to do that. I mean, you're right, they're looking at next year, too, or the long run of what can happen. All right, then we want to also talk about this because there's a couple of players that we want to look out for. Let's start off with QBs. Sam Bradford.
Sam Bradford, of course, is the king of the draft this year. The quarterback from Oklahoma most likely is going to go to the St. Louis Rams with the first overall pick. A lot of good pedigree on him. Looks like as though he's going to be a surefire, good starter in the NFL. It's just a matter of, is he going to be able to develop behind that Rams offensive line as fast as they need to? And then you've got Jimmy Clausen from Notre Dame. Comes from a pro-style offense. Charlie Weiss, the former New England Patriots offensive coordinator, now with Kansas City, was the coach at Notre Dame. He coached a pro-style offense. Clausen, a lot to like about him. Then you move on to the running backs, and there's some very good running backs in this draft. You've got guys like C.J. Spiller. C.J. Spiller is a fire plug. He's just dynamite out there. Very fast, very quick. He returns kicks and punts. Very dynamic player. And then another guy, Ryan Matthews. This is possibly the best, most complete running back in this draft. This is a guy from Fresno State that has the ability to run inside, run outside. He's got speed. He's got power. Very strong running back. I'll be real surprised if he makes it past the Houston Texans at #20.
Okay.
And then you got wide receiver.
What about wide receivers we're looking at?
Des Bryant, we've seen him. He's fallen down a couple of boards, huh, Russ? Had some character issues, but this guy is a talent. And let me tell you, there's going to be a team probably anywhere between the 9th and the 17th spot that's got to take this guy, right?
Oh, yeah. Des Bryant is definitely the most talented wide receiver. He does come with some off-field issues, but it's nothing that's major right now in the eyes of the NFL. And then there's Demaryius Thomas from the Georgia Tech. And Demaryius Thomas, if not for the broken foot injury, entirely possible he'd be the #1 ranked wide receiver in this draft.
So I always think of how injuries just change these players' lives, where they are in the draft with an injury.
Yeah, we talked about Colt McCoy earlier, one of the other quarterbacks who fell in the national championship game, right? So yeah, there's a lot going on there.
All right, let's talk some Cardinals, Jeff. The Cardinals have the 25th pick, and what do you see the Cardinals doing this year? Because they've got some big shoes to fill.
Yeah, they do, Tess. They've got 7 picks, and 4 of them are in the first 90 picks overall. So the Cardinals have a great strategy. They're going to do the same thing they did last year. They're going to let that draft come to them, Tess. Now, what they've got is from a position of need linebacker. They lost Carlos Dansby, so there's some great linebackers out there who might be available. You might even be looking at a guy like Sean Witherspoon out of Missouri. I love this guy. This guy's a ball hawk. He's got a nose for the ball wherever it is. He's a solid player as well. If they don't look at linebacker, they could also have something fall to them on the offensive line side. So they need to rebuild that offensive line. A guy like Bruce Campbell out of Maryland. Also Anthony Davis, another great tackle that could be there. Again, what the Cardinals can do is look at that. And then they've got to deal with the secondary too. Their secondary, they've got some concerns there. So, you know, you look at a guy like Kyle Wilson, who's a cornerback out of Boise State. He may be available in that first round. So that's what's so nice is last year, look what happened, right? Chris Beanie Wells fell to them. And at that 25th, 26th spot, they could have the same thing thing happen.
And that's what we're going to see probably was what you're saying.
That,
especially
I think
with
so,
people
Tess.
trading up, like you said, for
You
next
never
year's
know, you know.
draft.
And then the other thing, too, is they get some time to think about this between the end of the first round and the second
little break.
round.
All right. Talking about a lot of movement, Russ, if you can address that, player movement off field, what's the latest NFL news that we're seeing?
Well, of course, the top story all this past week has been Ben Roethlisberger with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And the
Roethlisberger
accusations.
is possibly going to be suspended for half of the 2010 season. They haven't decided exactly what that's going to be, but he's definitely in a lot of trouble. That hurts the Steelers organization. Now there's talks that he could be available via trade to another team.
Oh, okay.
How often do you get a two-time Super Bowl winning quarterback, an MVP quarterback, available to you for a trade,
Russ,
especially when he's still in the prime of his career?
Don't the Cards need a quarterback?
No. I think the Cardinals are fine with
Roethlisberger. You never know. You never know. That's what makes it
Is that
crazy.
what you'd like to see?
Hey, you never know,
You never
right?
know. Okay.
And,
I would
as
like to
far
see
as some other moves, Brandon Marshall going from the Denver Broncos for 2 second-round picks to the Miami Dolphins. That definitely helps out Chad Henne a lot there. He's the young starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. A great fantasy football sleeper pick this year is going to be Chad Henne.
Chad Henne,
a quarterback.
And then Santonio Holmes going from Pittsburgh, another problem child with the Steelers, but Holmes
Problem child.
That's right,
going
Tess.
from
Like how you address
Pittsburgh,
that.
heading to the New York this season.
All right.
Well, you get the guy that killed the Cardinals
Yep.
in that Super Bowl for a 5th-round pick. That's something else. That's
All
just
right.
stealing.
Well, I know we could go on forever about this stuff because obviously they're a little excited about football.
Absolutely.
All right, before we go, guys, I know fantasyfootballstarters.com. You guys can start going on now because you don't have to wait till football season.
That's right. We've got Russ is doing draft previews right now, Tess. He's blogging every day about sleepers. We've got our top 10 quarterbacks right now that we're projecting this year, all kinds of stuff. So go to Fantasy Football Starters, register, check out all our free content, check out our blogs and all of that. And one more shout out, okay? Don't think of that 88th and 89th pick that the Cardinals have. Dan Lefevre, quarterback out of Central Michigan. When's the last time we drafted when's the last time an Arizona team drafted a guy named Dan that wore number 13 that went to Central Michigan? Dan Marley.
Oh.
Different sport.
I was like, well, wait, that's basketball. You're trying to throw me off here.
Dana Valentine, our partner, wanted us to throw that out as his sleeper pick for the Cardinals.
Well, I'm sure we'll analyze this all after we get our folks in order and all the picks in order. So thanks for coming in, guys.
You bet.
Thank you.
Stay with us, folks.